Hey, Samin here from siift. Trying to keep these pretty short, under 10 minutes, which is short for me. Um, One of the questions that I get a lot is, what makes you qualified to basically tell all founders what to do? And that's not what we're doing. So I want to kind of clear up that misconception. Um, we stand on the shoulders of giants. We have access to these massive AI models that are trained on the entire internet's data and all the advice across different verticals. Um, and we have learned the hard way a lot of things through 10 plus years of entrepreneurship or founding on my end, as well as similar experiences on my team members' ends, that there's a lot of common mistakes that founders make, right? Premature building, not validating ideas properly, not building a scalable business model, not building the right team, not focusing on the right market for those founders, so lack of founder market fit, and then of course the elusive chase to product market fit, prematurely calling product market fit, ignorantly kind of claiming product market fit when it's too soon, mislabeling product market fit, all the different kind of things that are out there. I'm sure there's many more I'm forgetting, but essentially we are trying to help streamline a lot of the basics that even myself as a repeat founder can benefit from, because a lot of this just comes down to the biases or the blind spots that you have in the moment, right? I mean, as a founder, you're swamped with so many things, and nowadays that's only getting worse due to all the extra information and all the extra options that you have. So we want to just essentially help give people a compass or a bit of a guardrails to de-risk a lot of their decisions or a lot of their general thinking. So when we think about how to do that, we're not creating our own framework. There's plenty of frameworks out there, and some of them are very good. So we lean on kind of the best practices there. There's a lot of big books that I won't name here, just to avoid forgetting the right ones. But there's tons of these different books that I'm sure you've heard about that you can go read and you can try to apply, or you can go ask ChatGPT to kind of give you advice, or you can go listen to a ton of YouTube videos that can give you advice, or you could even go to an accelerator and they could give you a ton of advice. But I think we're at this point now in the startup world where it's like a post-advice world, kind of like a post-information world, in the sense that advice isn't worth anything, and that advice is really having a last mile problem, if you think about it that way. Okay, cool, I watched this video, Samin, you said some really interesting things, but I'm going to forget about it. I'm not going to remember what you said, just like I'm not going to remember the podcast that I listened to this morning, or that really cool keynote that I watched yesterday, or whatever it was, right? So I think the way we see it at siift here is about applied advice, or helping personalize a lot of the guidance that exists out there and sounds nice and very simple in theory, but when it comes to your specific situation, it's not as straightforward. And the way we do that is through our AI application, which is kind of like ChatGPT for founders, or a chat application for founders, but with a lot of more unique considerations for the founder journey, making it more structured, making it more guided, making it more visual, making it more objective, making it more granular, and making it more practical. You don't just want advice, you want help actioning that advice. You want to be able to refer back to that advice. You want to see how that advice panned out. You want to feed that advice or the results from that advice into maybe another thing. And so we're not really wondering, how do we compete with ChatGPT, or how do we compete with accelerators or anything like that. We're really thinking more so about how do we help make entrepreneurship more accessible by taking this massive corpus of really amazing expertise and advice and people and resources and organizations, and just solving that last one. So we don't replace accelerators. That's another common misconception that I wanted to make sure I covered here. There are a lot of people out there who get scared, or they think, oh, AI is going to replace our jobs. And I want to reassure you and state it here publicly that our goal isn't to replace jobs. Our goal is to create jobs. Of course, there will be some jobs that are going to be streamlined, or able to complete more with less people. But the net effect that we're going for is to be able to create more jobs, because those other streamlined jobs are creating more value that brings in more revenue that allows you to have more people on payroll. So it's not as simplistic as, oh look, this AI is going to take away 8 hours of work and now I have to fire somebody. It's more like, okay, this AI is going to solve a problem for my business, and it's going to bring in the money to help me unlock the next bottleneck, or help me unlock the next area that I need to work on. And so when we take this long view and apply it to something like accelerators, it's very interesting, right? Because we've heard this, I had no idea, but we've heard this talking to a lot of accelerators and people out there, that they can't help everybody, they're overwhelmed. And a lot of these accelerators, they're nonprofits. They're surviving off of generosity or government budgets, or support of investors and funds. And so they're in a tough place where they can't help the millions of people who just are sitting on an idea, or who want to go down some rabbit hole. They have to pick and choose who they can help. And even the people that they help, again, you have one mentor for 5 founders, one mentor for 10 founders. It's very hard for that person who probably has a lot of other obligations in life to be able to remember every conversation, remember every detail about all 5 of these startups, right? And so we see siift as a tool, and a lot of them are starting to see it now too, actually, that can help augment their operations, or help augment the way that they support their founders, because they don't need to be a part of the very basic repetitive conversations. They don't need to be there hand-holding a founder, at least most of the time. They need to jump in at critical moments to offer high-value advice, and be able to actually give that human touch that AI truly can't give, and I don't think it will ever be able to give, at least not in the foreseeable future, to these founders. So to those ecosystem enablers that I respect greatly here, we're not coming for your job. In fact, we want to make your job a lot more efficient and a lot more pleasant by helping you support more founders, be able to get more resources for what you do, and ultimately drive better outcomes for those founders too. So yeah, I think of sometimes, the term siift is an AI accelerator pops up, but I like to stay away from that term, because we're not replacing people. We're not pretending, or we don't assume that we know where we can replace all the work that those people do. I don't think anybody or any app can. It's just too many people, too many unique kind of insights, or too many unique angles, and too much, again, domain or network kind of value that siift can certainly help with, but it cannot replace completely, right? So yeah, we're coming up on 10 minutes here, but that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I wanted to kind of dispel, because a lot of these guys that we're starting to work with really understand how we can help them. And of course, there's always early adopters in the market versus maybe people who want to jump in later. But I think the startup market should probably, at least in theory, be a bit more innovative or adaptive to changes or things like AI. Yeah, just my 2 cents.